Good morning. Welcome to another video by your one and only literary Ferro. Okay, this is not morning workout talk. This is just me uploading the video. And again, mainstream media is using they're using their power to manipulate masses as they normally do by giving you messages to shift your mindsets plural, because as a collective we all have a mindset, but as a collective mindset that has its own degree of consciousness, so it has its own level of awareness. And we are all aware of the recent Hurricane Helene, and it's just amazing that they give these hurricanes names, because they're engineering these so-called natural disasters. It's all engineered. That's why they give them names, because they're patented. Just like if I create a product and I put a patent behind it, no one can steal my product or duplicate it without being sued. So you make sure you place a patent on whatever you create to make sure that your creation is protected from anyone who tries to steal your sense of innovation. Well, when you're talking about weather is no longer natural. It's never been natural for a very long time. We don't even know what natural weather is like. Our skies are not natural anymore. Unbeknownst to many of you guys will say, but it is, the sky is blue, I see clouds. Yeah, those are fake clouds. It's called cloud seeding. It's called geological and geographical engineering, geoengineering. Weather warfare, meaning that weather in its own right is natural, but when you start to manipulate weather, it's called weather warfare, because you're warring against nature. Listen to me, guys, and I'm going to say this, and I don't give a damn what you guys think about me. If you guys think that I'm a conspiracy theorist or I don't know what I'm talking about. If you think that that's what I am, then that just shows how far deep you are into the matrix system and how far brainwashed you are, how deeply entrenched you are into your own deception and your own manipulation. You are a tool in your own manipulation, because we have a brain to think, and we have the ability to extract ourselves from these duplicitous and crazy manipulative systems. We have the power to do so, but we just love to just cling on and remain connected to these treacherous systems. That's what they are. It's just treacherous. And Hurricane Helene was not a natural disaster. And what's so crazy about it is that this happens every year. These alleged natural disasters are engineered to decimate certain regions of the United States or any part of the world, and then you start to hear people say send money for aid. It's clockwork. But usually the weather is used as a means of reconfiguring locations. So in other words, if there's a group of people who have a bunch of money, and these people are usually linked to the Bilderberg groups, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, they're linked to them. There's not necessarily their families, but it's all a large web. And if they want certain real estate and they want certain land, what they'll do is use weather to destroy the area and then rebuild with their motive. They rebuild. They buy out the land and rebuild. So rather than going through litigation to get certain people who already own rights to those lands, what they do, they just use weather to just knock things down and then start over with what they want. That's just one out of many reasons of why they use weather as a means to attack people. Weather is now weaponized. Weather is not natural. Hurricanes are not natural. Rain is natural. Sunlight is natural. Okay? You guys have to understand that there's some people out there that are religious nuts. This is what they believe. And this is why being religious actually atrophies your thinking and puts you in a very, very, lack of a better term, it just makes you dumb, because you don't look at things scientifically. Things that you don't understand, you just attribute it to God. There are people out there that believe that these so-called natural disasters, which are far from natural, are the hands of God. God is creating these storms because somehow, some way, these are the end times. People who sound like that are very ignorant, and at best, they're stupid. This has nothing to do with end times. This has everything to do with those who have the technology to manipulate weather. You guys have to understand how frequencies work, how atmospheric frequency transmissions work. Atmospheric frequency transmissions, they have an effect on air masses. All right, so the air mass is already inundated with so much nanoparticulates. The nanoparticulates that I'm talking about are the things you see that they spray from the sky. I've been talking about this, but no one listens. But it's okay. There are few. A few is better than none. We don't know what they're spraying on us. I did a video before. I did it on my Rumble channel, and I talked about 31 known toxins that are being sprayed on us. Now, that's what we know, and I put emphasis on know, meaning that there are certain things that they're spraying on us that we don't know. It's sort of like the kid who goes into a store and you're being fed food that you think it's natural, only to realize that whatever you were eating was genetically modified. And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, genetically modified? I thought I was eating natural food. That's the way it is when you come across these truths that I'm trying to give you. Weather is manipulated. Atmospheric frequency transmissions, all right, they manipulate the air masses. And the air masses can be manipulated because of the nanoparticles, all right, that work in conjunctions with radio frequencies. They can repel air masses. What do I mean by repel? When you think of the term repel, it's like a repellent. When you spray bugs, it's a repellent to keep the bugs away. Well, when you repair air masses, it means that you can stop air and shift air. You can shift air with radio frequency technology, with atmospheric frequency transmissions. You can do that. You can repel the air masses, and you can especially do this when the air masses have been seeded with electrically conducted nanoparticulates. When the air masses have been electrically charged with these nanoparticulates, you can actually shift the air which way you want to shift it. But because we don't understand the science about how weather is manipulated, ignorant religious people will say, oh, it's God doing it. No, well, maybe it is God, your God. The gods, the ones that control the world, are the ones you guys serve. They're the ones that gave you your religion. They're the ones that gave you your politics. They're the ones that are giving you the corrupt foods that you're eating, that are killing you and causing all sorts of diseases within your biosphere and your biosystem. They're the ones that are giving you your stress. They're the ones that are giving you your false hope. So yeah, so in actuality, that is their God. But the God that they think that they're serving is not the God that they're serving. They're actually serving the ideal configuration of the Satan that they abhor. So the Satan that they despise, ironically, is the Satan that they're serving. That's the God that they're serving. Because when you talk about the devil and Satan, I look at it in terms of characteristics. They call Satan the adversary, or the devil the adversary. Well, any entity, the devil is not just one being. Satan is not just one person. It's being satanic and being devilish is a mindset. So any group of people or any one individual that has a mindset that's fixed on destroying people and leaving people in the dark for their own selfish means and motives, that's a devil. But what religious people don't know is that when you serve this God that you think is the God of the Bible, you're actually feeding into the selfish motive and agenda, the selfish motives and agenda of this devilish ideal and this satanic ideal. Utopia works on either end of the spectrum. You have devilish, satanic, utopic ideas, and you have righteous, heavenly, paradise type utopic ideas where there's no crime, there's no disease, there's peace. You have that, but you also have the other end of it where there is disease, where there is crime, where there is stress, where there is sickness, where there is death. That's the God you guys serve. But yet the God you guys serve is telling you that if you serve me, I'll heal you of these things. You're never going to get healed of those things because, number one, your mind is already at a dis-ease. You already have a corrupted mind because you can't even get to the point of having true discernment to understand when and where you're being manipulated at or where that manipulation originates from. You can't even decipher the genesis of your own manipulation. So when you look at weather and they say this is a natural disaster, it's not a natural disaster. There's no such thing as natural disaster. Nature doesn't cause disaster. Nature accentuates the planet. And when the planet is accentuated and the planet is operating in its most optimal state, the people who are of nature, melanated people who are filled with more carbon than anybody else, people like me and people like you, people of color, I'm not going to use the term black because I hate using that term. People of us, we are more uplifted and we live longer and we are stronger and we are more healthier when the planet in its natural state is left alone. But we understand what the European does or the devil-minded people do. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be white-skinned. There are many people out there that have the same skin color as us, and they're on the side of the devils. They're on the side of the satanic operation. They operate from that side because they have a vested interest that adorns them and fills their coffers and makes them feel great because it's for personal gain. It's never for a bigger cause. They're never looking at the big picture. So electrically conducted nanoparticles in the air, they are very, very reactive when you add atmospheric frequency transmissions. That's what's being done. And you don't have to believe me, but that's the truth. Think about it, guys. Can't y'all see the repetitive programming? Every freaking year, it's the same damn thing. And you guys just sit there like zombies. They manufacture the weather, political season, hurricane season, all these things are programmings. And even the seasons of celebrations where they have, you have Easter, you have Christmas, you have New Year's, you have all these things are programming. It's made to, they do it so much that it's become normal. So our brain somehow, some way has, created neural pathways where we have made ourselves believe that these things are normal because the power of belief, the power of your own voice dictates to yourselves what to believe. And once that happens, you become a slave to your own self because at the onset, the foundation is based upon a lie. And once you start following a lie, you are already doomed. There's no coming back from that. So yeah. So they manufacture the weather, they engineer the weather, they patent it because it's a business. And so once they decimate a certain region, they start asking you to pay money. Then people are watching TV. They show the scene, right? Because you have to capture the people's attention. The tell-lie vision tells you a lie and gives you a vision to dictate your discourse. I told you this before. So they give you a vision that's a lie. Yes, it's true you see flooding, but that flooding was not the cause of natural disaster. Mother Nature nurtures. Mother Nature doesn't act that way. So it's sort of like taking things that are of natural substance and you contaminate the natural essence of that substance by injecting it with toxic filth, and therefore you've compromised the purity of that natural substance. So that natural substance no longer is natural, and no longer can it benefit mankind. So when you add things to something that's natural, you cause problems. When you start to use nanoparticles, atmospheric frequency transmissions, radio wave technology, and you're using ionosphere heaters to manipulate the atmosphere and the stratosphere, you're going to get problems, because you have a natural occurring hydrologic cycle that works for the benefit of all life on the planet, plant life, human life, all sorts of life, and that's being tampered with. There's an interruption to the system, then you're going to have glitches, and you're going to have imbalances that are produced from that intrusion. So that's what you see happening. It's not natural. You guys need to get it out your damn heads that these natural disasters are just here. And it goes back to what I've said before. This is the culture we live in. It's a hell-based culture, and a hell-based culture is a culture that uses fear to run its mission. They're always giving you this idea that you never know what's going to hit you next. Natural disasters, natural plagues, biological warfare, terrorist attacks. They keep you on the edge at all times. They use politics to draw your mind in, and you think that somehow, some way, that a particular political party is going to solve the problem. It's all a freaking game. It's all a game. None of it is real. The only thing that's real is you and your thoughts, and how you respond to this illegal, fraudulent, criminal system that we're under. It's criminal because we're being lied to. Any system that lies to its citizens is criminal. Because what are you lying for, number one, and what are you keeping from us? If you think that governing people in the dark is something that's noble, then you're an idiot. Because once you start to peel back the layers and understand the depth of the manipulation, then you're going to understand that 90% of the things that you've been taught and 90% of the things that you've seen with your own eyes are all lies. Because you can see a natural disaster, but don't call that a natural disaster. It's a disaster for sure, but it's a man-made. It's disaster that's come from the hands of men. We call that anthropogenic warfare. Warfare that's induced by the manipulative tactics of man via using technology to manipulate air masses. So when you can repel air masses, you can shift air masses in whatever direction that you want to shift it. It's molesting nature. It's raping nature and indicting nature as the culprit of disaster. It's lying. It's sort of like a criminal who robs a bank, but then they blame the bank robbery on an innocent bystander who had nothing to do with the bank robbery. Nature is being blamed for disaster. Man is the one that's disastrous. Okay? So Hurricane Helene was engineered, folks. All so-called alleged natural disasters are engineered. I'm going to repeat that again. All natural disasters, especially the ones they give names to, and they talk about it on the news. Oh, it's going to come here. It's all engineered. All our diseases are engineered. You say, what do you mean our diseases are engineered? Exactly what the hell I just said, for the people in the back who aren't listening. Our diseases, our sicknesses are engineered. You say, how? It's through the foods that we eat, what they spray on us, our day-to-day living, the bombardment of radio wave technology. They've somehow, some way, through the electromagnetification of the planet, which began in 1918 to be exact, and it seems like every decade they continue to add more and more to the electromagnetification of the planet. All right? And that speeds up, especially for melanated people who are carbon-based, it speeds up our autonomous nervous response system. Your autonomous nervous response system, if it's overreactive, It's hard for you to think. It's hard for you to meditate. That's why some of you guys can't meditate. It's difficult because your brain's racing. You're constantly thinking. So though you may not have what they call ADHD, but you have a more mild version of it because you can't even settle your mind down. Some of you guys need psychotropics, which I would not recommend to anyone because those things have debilitating side effects. Anything that you take, any chemical that alters the mind state is not a chemical that you should take. If you want to alter your mind state, you have to use deep breathing and eating right and exercise to alter your mind state. Use natural means to do it. You see what man has done, and they're very clever at it. They've always taken things that are natural and manipulated it. The same results you can get from chemicals are the same results you can get doing it the natural way. Only that the natural way won't come with side effects. Any side effect you get from doing something the natural way is a good side effect. So the system we're under, it causes everything. But then it turns around and says, here, we have a rectifying mechanism to fix your problem. Yeah. But they gave you the problem. I'm going to burn your house down, but I'm going to supply you with fire insurance. I'm going to get you sick, but I'm also going to supply you with a hospital. That's really not going to heal you. It's made to drain us, extract all of your financial resources from you, heap a burden of stress upon your psyche and your mental, because stress is the slowest killer. It incurs addiction. That's why we can't calm ourselves down. That's why it's hard for us to think critically, because we don't know how to settle our brains down. The autonomous nervous response system of the brain is hyperactive, is overreactive. So we all have we're all on a spectrum. I know people talk about kids who have autism, and you talk about kids that are on a spectrum. Everyone is on a spectrum to a certain degree. That's why we can't elevate. We are disconnected from the earth. We lack connection with the cosmos. We are spiritually bankrupt because we can't settle ourselves down. We're constantly being stimulated by external trappings. The external stimuli is so immense that it puts us at a low vibrational output, that all we can think of are things that satisfy the flesh. Our baser animalistic instincts become our compass. We are guided by that. And then just because you go to church and you open up a damn Bible that was written by the hands of European men who have manipulated old texts that predate the Bible by thousands of years, you think that that's spiritual because you went to a Bible study to study a book that was written by hands of men, just like you and I. They didn't have any damn inspiration. The only inspiration they had was the inspiration of manipulation. Those stories aren't even real. Those are made up names. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. How the hell are you going to have English names and Middle Eastern people with English names? These disciples couldn't read or write, but all of a sudden God dictated to them what to write. You guys are idiots, man. You guys don't ask any questions. You just follow. And the best thing that can ever happen to you is you not knowing. The worst thing that can happen to you is you not knowing, but you concede into something just to put yourself in a social acceptable class to say that I'm part of a particular group. Oh, I'm a Christian. I'm a Democrat. I'm a Republican. You aren't shit. Once you start labeling yourself by the systems that oppresses you, and you start attaching your name to their name, you are far gone. You're done. You're completely done. So that's what I mean by an insane asylum. It's cuckoo land. Is we're gonna call man-made disasters natural. We're gonna ask for aid, financial support, for something that we created. We're going to burn down forests, blame it on natural disasters, blame it on nature. I mean, if you don't see the parallels between the human body and nature, then I don't know what to tell you. Just like if you have imbalances in your body, you're going to have extreme shifts in your body temperature. Either you're going to be extremely hot or extremely cold. You're going to have night sweats because the body's trying to push out or excrete toxic debris because it's been in a state of imbalance away from homeostasis for so long that the body now has a symptomatic response. Well, that's the same thing that's going on with the earth. When you start playing with nanoparticulates and you're messing with the atmospheric waves, when you start messing with the hydrologic cycle entails the water, precipitation, condensation, and heat. It's a cycle. That's why you get rain, dryness, wetness, moisture, rain, dryness. It's a cycle, and it's supposed to keep everything in an incubative state where it allows for growth and maturity to happen, whether it's plant life or whether it's human life, because our brains can't even function optimally when we're underneath a weather system that's corrupt. So that's another added element to our destruction. That's why we can't meditate. That's why our intuitive sense is gone. That's why we're chemical addicts. We are stimulated by chemicals rather than being stimulated by nature. Why do you think to hell with what scientists say, but why do you think people have used sunlight to cure depression with people who are depressed? They tell you to go out there and sun gaze, get the sun, take off your shoes, walk in the grass, walk in the dirt, be under nature. Nature is healing. Nature in and of itself is a healing agent. Can't y'all see that the world, that the planet, and our human biosystem, anatomically and chemically, the way we are constructed, it goes hand in hand? That's why I call us gods of the planet. Because the planet and our geological makeup, our biogeological makeup, with our genetics and DNA, they work together as one. When one is destroyed, it destroys the other. It's a ripple effect. So if you decimate the sedimentary layer of the planet, which is the soils, let's say the soils of the planet no longer has rich microbiome. If it lacks rich microbiome, then that means that the crops you eat lack nutrients. And when you have crops that you eat that lack nutrients, then you yourself will lack nutrients. Then when you yourself lack nutrients, then oxidative stress increases, premature aging increases, then you're likely to have death and disease that comes as an onset, as an outcome, as a natural consequence. So yes, I repeat, Hurricane Helene was not natural. If you hear anybody say that it was natural, just ask them, how do you know it was a natural disaster? You know what they're going to tell you? The news said so. That's what you call programming. When people base their answers based upon what they were given, then they're dead mentally. And I'm not talking bad about those kind of people. I used to be that way too. But when you wake up, you start to see how the system uses mainstream media as an engine. That is the false prophet. It prophesies falsities to the people. Television, mainstream media, that's the false prophet. And the people follow the false prophet. And when you follow the false prophet, you are inadvertently worshiping the God of the false prophet. Who is the God of the false prophet? The God or gods of the false prophet are the controllers of the world. Who are the controllers of the world? Those who print the money, those who own the systems, those who are working in tandem with extraterrestrials. That's who you guys are worshiping when you give into the systems, when you give into the religious systems. They've put all this here for you. We are part of a large experiment, but we don't even know it. And we think that there are outlets and respites and pockets that we can find for refuge away from the catastrophe and the chaos. No. Even the places that they have created for you that are deemed to be safe spaces are created by your oppressors. That's how they keep you in the experiment, in the crazy ecosystem that you're in. It's giving you the veneer of safety, where in actuality you're never safe. The system is based off of fear, a hellish construct. So natural disasters, there's no such thing. You have man-made disasters, using nature and blaming nature for their evil deeds. When in doubt, just blame nature. Peace, guys. Leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think. Till next time.